What are we doing today? I
Well,
can't wait.
today, what are the early signs that maybe this guy is not going to commit? Don't waste your time. Thank you so much for joining us again on Second Act TV. Welcoming back Robert Manni, the author of the Guys Guide to Love, the host of Guys Guy Radio and TV right here on YouTube. Robert, thank you for being here again.
My pleasure, Silka. What are we doing today? I
Well,
can't wait.
today we're doing something actually very important if a woman is looking for a committed relationship, which, obviously we talk a lot about that here in Second Act, finding love after 50. We want a relationship, we're ready for it. What are the early signs that maybe this guy is not going to commit? Don't waste your time.
Well, I can say that I was guilty as charged because I was over 50 when I got married. I've only been married once. I've been married for 15 years, but I hit 50 when I got engaged. I haven't gone through the list too closely, but I'm sure I made a lot of these behavioral mistakes.
Well, let's see how many of these you did, Robert, and how we can maybe tell someone, how to spot these warning signs early before it's too late and you waste your time. Number one, he uses vague language. This is interesting, that one of the most valuable indicators to be aware of is language, such as like maybe, not now, later, we'll see, I'm not sure.
Well, it depends on the circumstances. It's all contextual there. So I guess so. Maybe that's I'm doing it right now, but they're not definitive. It depends on what the subject is. You can, I guess you could say there could be a sign that if this person's always kind of vague, that they're vague about the relationship. You're trying to connect the dots a little too closely there. I don't know if that's necessarily an indicator. I think you have to go the next layer to see what is the subject matter. It's about something with the relationship. You want to go to vacation together. We'll talk about it. It's not summer yet. That in those circumstances, then vagueness means, not committed.
Yeah, I took it as that it's in reference to future stuff or future
Hmm.
plans,
Right.
or
Yeah.
in general, that if there's a lot of maybes, we'll see,
Right.
those are big red flags. Like what he says here, what they're really saying is, I don't want to commit, but I don't want to disappoint you either.
That's I hear you on that. Definitely. But you have to have in the relationship, there's a responsibility. If you want a commitment and you're not sure if the guy wants a commitment, you have to somehow communicate that, like, this is something I'm interested in. If you're afraid about being too heavy-handed about it, you have to
Mm-hmm.
find the right words, but you have to sniff out if this person is the committing type of guy. And I don't think it has to do with how old the guy is or how many times they've been married or not been married. I think it's about personality, what their
Mm-hmm.
interest is, and how interested they are in you. I always say that
Mm.
people always find time to do the things that they want to do. So if the
I
person finds the time to be with you, that's a good thing.
totally agree. The takeaway here, what they say, and that's good, is do watch his language. How often do you hear vague statements that avoid decisions or commitments? So good thing to have in the back of your mind if that's what you're
Mm-hmm.
concerned with. Number two here, he texts frequently but doesn't make firm plans. That is a very subtle indicator that he might be texting with a million other women.
He could be stringing you along and doing that, playing the field. And then you have to nail him down. You have to out text him. You have to be specific. You want to get together Saturday. I found this
Mm-hmm.
new restaurant. You say you like Mexican food. There's a new place that opened up. Do you want what you want to check it out? Step up, put on the big girl pants and say, okay, I'm going to take charge of this situation. If you want to wait for him, if he's being, wishy-washy on everything,
Mm-hmm.
get to it and figure out, okay, where is this guy's head and heart at?
Totally agree. You have nothing to lose if that's what's
Right.
happening, and you're not being too assertive. You're not being, chasing him. Just do it once, maybe twice at the most, and then you'll
Hmm.
know whether or not he's interested,
Right.
and if he is the commitment person that you're looking for. And the takeaway is he making plans to see you or spending more time texting? Yeah, it's kind of, this is a mute point to me. Like you said, if this is going on, well, yeah,
You don't
test him
need a
on it.
text. You don't need a text buddy, right?
No,
Let's do
no.
something. I mean, the real world is the only way to find out if it's going to work is get together.
Right. I think pointing out the texting is good in today's society because especially with online dating, you have the opportunity to be in contact with so many other people. So it is, it's a good sign to be aware of.
And there's always a phone call too. If you're texting all the time, just say I'm calling. Call him
Yeah.
if he picks up.
Number 3 here. His actions don't match his words. Does he often make promises or plans that never materialize?
There's a lot of people like that, men and women. And some people that's how they live. They're always going to do something and then they don't do it. However, when it comes to the nitty gritty of a relationship, if they keep promising to do something and they don't, what does that tell you? They're not
Mhm.
interested in it.
And I think the way that this materializes the most is, promising to call or saying you're going to call, or hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. That is really part of dating when somebody is stringing you along. I mean, people do tend to do that. So yeah, absolutely something to be aware of. Do his words match his actions? It'll tell you a lot.
You can always, again, with the phone call, I just wanted to
Mhm.
hear your voice. Nothing wrong with a phone call. People don't use the phone anymore. Very
Yeah.
easy. You just dial it and you say hello. Last I checked.
Here's well, the ultimate indicator of whether or not he's going to commit, in my opinion. He avoids defining the relationship, and we have segments on that, how to do it and what that means, and I'll link to that. That in the early stages of dating, I mean, it is common, you don't talk about necessarily who are we or what are we, but at some point, if it goes on and on and on, yeah, you need to know where you are. You need to know,
Yeah.
is this guy serious, if that's what you want. Again, if you like situationships, go for it. But if you're looking for a committed relationship, then having that talk is really important.
At a certain point, I think initially you have to assume that people are dating. If they're on the online, they're going to have other lines in the water, if you will. Then it's two ways of dating. You're either playing the field
Mm-hmm.
or you lock on one person and say, let's see how this works out. And I was
Mm-hmm.
single for a long, long time. And the way I ended up getting together with my wife was she was like, what are you still doing online? I thought you and I were going to see if it works. And I thought, oh, that's a novel idea. And you know what? I said, okay, fine. Let's see it. I won't see anybody. We'll see each other and see how it works. Well, we're married. So I guess it worked in this
Yeah.
case. So, but I think you have to, for couples in general, you have to assume number one, the other person's dating other people. If it's going well, at a certain point, there's one or two things that's happening. I'm dating other people, which means he's not that interested, or he's just
Mm-hmm.
taking the liberty of saying, I'll get in what I can get that's out there, or I'm just dating you. There's really no middle ground there. I'm
Mm-hmm.
dating other people, or I'm just dating you. So if you want to get an answer on that after a certain amount of time that you feel comfortable with that, say, should we be seeing, are you seeing other people? Is this, what's our relationship? I don't, I don't think it's unfair to ask just to get a sense, because you have the right, you have your time is valuable. And if the other person's dating other people and you're thinking, oh, he's just dating me because I'm just dating him, you're going to be disappointed and you might be left in the dust also. So there's nothing wrong with it at an appropriate time where it feels right to say, hey, I'm enjoying our time spent together. Are you still dating other people, or should we be not doing that? What's your
Mm-hmm.
sense? Keep it light.
Yeah, no, exactly. And especially, when sex enters the picture, sometimes early, before you have that talk, sometimes after. And this is personal preference. I think both men and women have the right to know if, are we exclusive? And that's where this gets to be important too. And when you said, keep it light, I remember when the way I, like Paul and I did, I clearly remember this. I didn't ask. I just brought it up. I said, at this point in our relationship, what we've done, how much fun we've had, that it's not okay with me if you're seeing anybody else. So I don't know if that's wrong or right. I'm not necessarily giving advice.
All right. Well, I mean, yes, you put it right to them. I mean, that's the direct approach, and that's fine. Sometimes guys like that or need that, but it's certainly fair to ask if particularly if you're not seeing anybody else and
Mhm.
you don't know if he is. I mean, you got to, that's not fair if he's having a run of the mill and you're there just waiting on him. And with the sex issue, whole different topic.
Yeah. One thing that I've heard out there, well, Treva tells me that she hears from her clients, and some other people have said that people are now saying that, you should have sex early because that's one of the determinants of whether or not, you're compatible. That, get sex out, go to bed as soon as possible so you know if you're compatible. Personally, I think that's horrible advice. What do you think?
I think it has to happen when it's the right time to happen. I don't think you should get it. It's not about getting it out of the way. To
Yeah.
me, that's diminishing the what sex is a spiritual experience that you should really not just be having sex for the sake of sex. It
Hmm.
should have some like I can say this. I slept around, but I never had sex with somebody I didn't care about. You have to be pretty mature. I've been able to be in relationships where we had sex right away. But I will
Hmm.
say, and it worked. Sometimes the first time you have sex with somebody new is not the best,
Hmm.
or is not as good as it will end up being. And it takes a few times to get to know each other, and then it can go quantum leap.
Yeah.
And you can very quickly dismiss somebody because, oh, that first kiss or that first sex didn't do it for me. You know
Hmm.
what? When you really get to know somebody, the sex can really blossom in a number of different ways. I mean, that's just my perspective of it.
Yeah, and I think it's particularly, at our age, with a lot of the sexual dysfunction that we're dealing with, that just comes along with it. Early sex it is no indication at all, of the level of your intimacy or the potential of your intimacy. So yeah, defining the relationship, if you're with someone who avoids it, it's definitely a big red flag that you're probably not going to get
Yeah.
the commitment that you're looking for. Finally, and this is an interesting one here, he already told you he doesn't want something serious. That sometimes it's just hard to hear, but the problem really is in ignoring the situation, that you just don't want to believe that he won't commit.
Well, maybe he said that at the beginning of the relationship and everything's been rocking and rolling since then, and he can't get enough of you. And maybe it's time to revisit that and say, you still don't want a committed relationship? There's a lot of different times you can say that. They can get a different type of reaction. But, if he sees how great things can be, maybe, everybody's going to say that. I don't want a committed relationship until they meet the right one, and then
Mm-hmm.
they want a committed relationship. So if somebody just wants the no relationship, they just want to have fun, that's fine too. I think if you're with somebody and they told you, I don't want to have a relationship, and you've accepted that, and then you're with
Mm-hmm.
them, and now you want a relationship, and you think you're making that other person happy, you can check in on that. You still feel the same way? And if he says, hell yeah, then don't open up your heart too much for this person because you're not going to get it back.
I guess this happens a lot. People are straight about it, that, I'm not looking for anything serious, but that doesn't mean that you not affectionate or cuddly or have great
Right.
sex, or maybe you see each other a lot. But again, especially at our age, there's so many different reasons why someone may not want another relationship. Yeah, if I kind of want to say that if they tell you that, believe them,
Mm-hmm.
before you end up being heartbroken again.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, and then give it a chance. If they say, "Listen, I've been for whatever reasons, because after 50, you've got some tread on the tires, you've had some life
Yeah.
experience." They might say, "I just had a bad marriage, I had some bad relationships. This is just not the time. I love being with you." Then you make a determination. Will this guy change? Or you can say, "You think you're always going to feel that way,
Hmm.
or is it
Yeah.
just about this relationship?" And then see what they say. You can probe. I mean, you have to tread carefully because guys don't want to feel cornered on that. But you have every right to find out where you
Hmm.
stand.
Yeah, it's a interesting topic because there are so many of us, or we think at least we want a committed relationship. Because that's the way we grew up or we came out of a long marriage. It's just that it's still ingrained in us that commitment or marriage, for a lot of us, marriage is still the ultimate success symbol, of a relationship. It is an interesting topic to think about. What do I really want? What could I really be happy with? What does a relationship mean to me? And, would I be okay with the level of commitment that this person is willing, to give or not? What did we discuss here? Anything you want to add to this topic?
I think what you said was spot on, Silka. Beautifully stated also in that, when you hit, sometimes I can be very simplistic, but when you hit a certain time in your life stage that things are, you want it to be fluid. You want it to be, hey, I did that. This is working for me now. Can we keep it like this? And sometimes the couples will agree. Both people say, you know what? Maybe he's right. Maybe she's right. Let's keep it light. And we don't have to have those guardrails put in there and see how it goes. And at a certain point, if you end up spending every weekend together, then obviously you're probably not seeing anybody else unless you really have a lot of energy and you're out, all week with somebody. I mean, I was in a relationship. It lasted a year and a half, and we were together Friday night, Saturday night, right through Sunday midday, and we didn't leave. And it was like just to go eat, and that's how it was. And then it ended. But I didn't think she was seeing anybody else, and I was too tired. So.
Well, thank you for sharing, Robert. Yeah, it's a great topic, and no, I always love talking, with you about this stuff, and I know that our audience appreciates it, especially our women. So Robert, as always, I will link to all of your information to your book right there, the Guys Guide to Love, your radio show, of course, Guys Radio and TV, your YouTube channel. Be sure to check it out. The link will be in the show notes, and subscribe to Robert. He's got great topics that he discusses way more than we do on this show. And Robert, I look forward to seeing you again soon on Second Act TV.
Thank you so much.